Sidonia. The UC clings to its old ways. I suspect this soul system would be abandoned otherwise. Standard mining jobs here can be quite lucrative, if you survive.
If you're going to use the elevators or stairs to reach the other levels,
Do you imagine anyone actually enjoys living here? I simply cannot. Very practical to seal this off and make it habitable. Also rather visually pleasing.
Since you helped us out with the equipment and all, I was wondering if I could talk to you. We'll get to that. Will you listen to what I have to say first? It's probably not, but I can't afford to go get it looked at. No idea. Some sort of lung rot. Maybe from all the Martian dust that kicks up in here. Or it could be something worse. I know. I wish it were that easy. Actually, maybe this is wrong. You're a total stranger. Forget I said anything. Thanks, I'll try it, but I really should see an actual doctor. It's clear you want to help. Maybe I can trust you.
The gesture is a kind one, but a med pack will not solve her issue.
See, I'd like to go to Reliant Medical for treatment, but my father, Natan, is an executive with Reliant. I came to Sidonia to escape him. Natan is not a good man. Not to me. And I did something terrible to him, so now he is searching far and wide for me. He has connections with doctors throughout the settled systems. I don't know which ones I can trust, and it won't end well for me if they snitch to him. After my mother died in an accident, he changed. He became obsessed with my protection, but he never listened to what that was doing to me. It got worse and worse. First, it was no traveling in ships without one of his pilots. Then no parties, no drinking, no leaving the house. I obeyed. But he didn't trust me, so he started monitoring everything I did. It became so bad, he once locked me in my room for 2 days after an argument. Can you believe that? A prisoner in my own home. Every day there was yelling, lack of freedom, threats. I had to escape my prison. But even now, I am trapped. It's worse than you think. I didn't just run away from him. I knocked him unconscious, then stole his ship while he was out cold. Trust me, it was warranted at the time. After I ditched it above Aquila, I bounced around the settled systems until I landed here. It's the last place I thought he'd find me. But all that changes if I pop up in the Reliant database. He'll know I'm in Sidonia, and he'll never stop looking for me. Last I heard, he no longer cares for my safety. He only wants revenge. I have little doubt he would throw me in jail for as long as possible. Or worse. It's a risk I have to take. Yes, my condition is getting worse, but there's a chance it will clear up on its own. If my father finds me, well, I know my father and I fear for my safety. That is a definite. Trevor tells me you're skilled in dealing with people. Maybe you could try to reason with my father, or maybe scare him into backing off. But you should know, he has powerful and dangerous friends, so you must be careful. If it works, I'll be free. If not, well, at least he still won't know where to find me. What do you think? It just so happens there's a conference he goes to on Neon around this time of year. He always stays at Hotel Volii. He won't see visitors he doesn't know, but maybe he'll talk if you tell him you're there on my behalf. It's risky, but maybe he'll listen if he knows you mean him no harm. I've got it. Bring him a bottle of his favorite whiskey, Red Harvest Reserve. Say it's... Say it's a peace offering from me. That whiskey is exceedingly rare. I'm sure it will pique his interest enough to hear what you have to say. Good luck. You can check with Jack at the Broken Spear for the whiskey. He may have some or know where to get it. And thank you so much for trying to help me.
This is a courtesy reminder that despite the low gravity on Mars, a fall into Sidonia's lower level is still likely to result in injury or death. Please exercise caution near balcony edges.
Everyone needs to come to me with their problems. I ain't a psychiatrist. I am, but you don't look like the type that could afford it. Last person who came through here asking about it was none other than Governor Hurst. Didn't even want to drink it. Said he was buying it to put it on display in his office or something. Seems like a waste, but whatever. You paid up. Not from me. And I know Hurst won't give his up willingly either. So, no. Unless you're fixing to steal from Hurst. And for the record, I wouldn't recommend something utterly stupid like that. You don't get it. This whiskey was aged in barrels buried in Martian soil, which leached into it, giving the whiskey its distinct red hue. They don't make this stuff anymore and never will. The exact process was lost. There's a finite amount of this stuff left in the universe. You're lucky I got any at all. Now you got my attention. This ought to be good. I do have a soft spot for that girl. I do believe you, but you realize what kind of a bind this puts me in, right? Why didn't you say so? I know Rivkah's story. Will this really help her? Tell you what, I'll do this as a favor for Rivkah. She's been through a lot. I'll only charge you what I paid for a whiskey years ago. Pay me that, and it's yours. I sure hope you're not pulling my leg about this whole thing, or else I just let all that money slip away. You better do justice for Rivkah.
I tried Aurora once. I did not enjoy the experience.
Neon security! Get back here! To become part of the most advanced technology. Neon security! Stop me! You're under arrest. No sudden moves. Smart move. Now, come along with us. We'll take any contraband and stolen property, and you'll be free to go.
So you're telling me I have to take my entire load of alcohol?
You're in the Vanguard, right? Hey, thanks for your service.
These tariffs and taxes are getting ridiculous. This is the last run to Neon I'm ever going to make. I can't believe I'm going to be out thousands of credits. This could ruin me.
Now is the time to enhance your life. Here
Keep it moving.
So go out, have your fun, live your best life. We'll be here when you're ready. Hotel Volii. Sleep with us.
I really don't know if I can do this.
Welcome to the Hotel Volii. Are you here to rent a room?
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised that our luxury accommodations are more than reasonably priced. We have finally appointed spacious suites, all featuring fantastic amenities. Best of all, each room is security protected with an encrypted password-locked door. So, you can rest easy at night. Nope, no catch. My hotel is completely free from administrative influence, so you can rest assured that you'll be actually getting the best value for your credits. Well, almost every business in Neon is subject to ridiculous fees and taxes. They claim that it's because Neon occupies such a prime location, having close proximity to Ryujin and all of the other megacorporations. But I think you and I both know that's not true at all. Indeed it does. And all it took was a dash of my own ingenuity to make it happen. But that's a story for another time. So, can I book you a room for the night? to tell you the truth, not really. And that's one of the consequences with the arrangement between Administrator Bayou and myself. He won't hassle me, but there's nothing I can do about my guests being hassled. The last tenant I had was arrested for spitting on the street. As you can imagine, business is not exactly booming. Luckily, I have more than enough capital to cover my expenses, but it still sucks. You mean the stuff Bayou leaves out of the brochures? Don't mind at all. Oh, you noticed that little thing? Yeah, that's Bayou's crown jewel. First of all, you have the Astral Lounge, flowing with Aurora, attracting every tourist within light years of Volii. Then you have exorbitantly priced offices for every megacorp, besides Ryujin, with Xenofresh Fisheries square at the top. And like the cherry at the top of his ego sundae, Bayou's got his private penthouse. I don't even want to think about what goes on up there. Neon has 4 main districts. The ones where Bayou wants you to spend your credits are Bayou Plaza and Ikuchi Market. Those are the glitzy parts of town. Bayou Plaza is the section outside my doors, from the trade tower to the spaceport. Ikuchi Market runs from the Starport Terminal to Ryujin Tower. Not quite as glamorous as the plaza, but still expensive. Then there's Upside, running the perimeter of the upper platform. Probably not the best spot for tourists. Finally, you have the Underbelly, the working class's domain under our feet. Not much down there, but industry and a few random shops. Enjoy your visit to Neon. Are you here to book a room? Oh, how nice! His daughter must be feeling very generous to be sending him something like that. Mr. Ovadia is in his room on the 3rd floor. I'll buzz him and let him know you're on your way.
Crime rating of only 16%. Your safety is almost guaranteed. So go out. Have your...
Well, let's make Red Harvest Reserve, huh? I assume this is from my daughter. Well, she knows how to get my attention. So what then? You're working with her? She thinks this will be enough to smooth things over between us? Of course it was. I should have not been so blind. You have no idea what you're doing. You need to tell me where she is this instant. My own daughter assaults me in my own home, steals my personal spacecraft, then runs off to who knows where. Now you think a friendly little chat is going to smooth it all over and make things better? How foolish do you think I am? Thanks. I'm still collecting my thoughts. My daughter knows me well. Maybe she is serious about this. Maybe so. I suppose I've overreacted. She was young, and while foolish, she is still my daughter. And Rivkah is all I have left of my wife. I would do her a disservice to incriminate her daughter like that. She told you about that. I'm not proud of it. I've wrestled with it ever since my wife died. I have been a terrible father. It will be up to Rivkah how she wants me to make amends, and I will do whatever it takes. If she wants money, she'll get it. If she wants me to go to therapy, I will. Whatever it takes. I promise. Yes. Tell her I will drop the charges immediately and call off the bounty hunters. And I suppose I will seek her out to talk. I may just need a little time to figure out how to say what I need to say. Thank you.
As they say, calling off the bounty hunters is usually the first step to a family reconciliation. Sidonia. I will be finding red dust in my clothing for days after we leave.
Just a heads up. UC Science Division's apparently going to
If there were any doubt of Sidonia's importance to the United Colonies and its industry, this
I received
certainly
an
puts it to
urgent
rest.
message from my father. He's dropped the charges. It will still be difficult. There's a lot we need to speak about, but I think we may be able to mend our relationship, thanks to you. I doubt it will come to that, but yes. I now know I have a friend I can count on when I'm in trouble. Of course, we will be taking things slow. There is a lot of trust to rebuild. But he acknowledged and apologized for his past behavior. That is a good first step, and I'm willing to let him back into my life, bit by bit, as long as he proves his words and commits to change. Without your intervention, this would not have been possible. And I can finally treat this. Thank you. I cannot repay you enough.
Smugglers always like to use Hopetech ships to resemble legitimate transports. I wonder how the company feels about that.
I don't want to hear any complaints.
As vital as spaceships are to the settled systems, everything would grind to a halt without the Trade Authority. If I am not mistaken, you are new here. I hope you find Hopetown as full of opportunity as the Trade Authority does. A marvelous place, truly laissez-faire. If you have any difficult cargo to unload, I'm happy to oblige. A little of this, a little of that. Anything we can do to facilitate trade. Security and I have come to a very equitable arrangement, beneficial to all parties. It is true that the Trade Authority is just terrible at inspecting cargo manifests. We really plan on getting better about that one day. So, do you need anything? I've never been much for offices or a storefront. But here, people from all over the system come here. A true crossroads. Literal music to my ears.
What it would be like to see these famed red devils in combat.
The community center on P1 is a good place to connect with others.
I have a pen pal in New Atlantis.
Mars is so boring sometimes.
United Colonies asks much of its workers, and apparently offers rather little.
Oh, wow. I can't wait to get that book. Hey, you're back! Oh, I hope you got the book I asked for. Can I have it? Wow! I can't believe you actually went and got it for me. I really appreciate you helping me out. Here's something for your trouble.
I heard about what you did for my mom and me. Thanks.
may be paradise, but that doesn't mean we don't run into trouble. No major incidents in a while.
I'm here to satisfy your needs. I hope your stay
We have all sorts of chunks.
I do not care what terminology they use. This still smells like it chunks. Ugh.
Hello, hello. Welcome to Chunks. If this is your first time dining with us at this location, you'll find our cuisine and service is a step above what you're used to. Please, don't hesitate to ask if there's anything I can do to make your Chunks experience as enjoyable as possible. I used to work at a Chunks in Neon before my transfer was approved, and while I much prefer working here, I can say that it's not a lot different. It looks a lot nicer, the food is supposedly higher quality, and we treat the customers with greater care, but that's really about it. Yeah, I know, it seems ridiculous, especially since most of the food is the same old Chunks as anywhere else, but people here really seem to like it. Honestly, what else do you want me to say? This is my employer and they treat me well enough. So please, enjoy some gourmet chunks. Huh, I thought it was a joke at first, but yet here you are. Let me get that for you. I wonder why they keep running out so quickly over there. Anyway, tell Luthor I said hi.
I can understand wanting to honor or even celebrate history, but this may take it too far.
There is value to be found in looking back through history, provided one does not cling too tightly to it.
Enjoy your visit here.
I'm gonna use our discount to get a bunch of different chunks.
Running around in an obviously fake monster costume trying to scare people.
Hell yeah, you came through. Man, you really saved my butt. Corporate's gonna see just how much this place is gonna turn around. Thanks again.
Did you know the museum here is...
Hey there! Hope you brought a healthy thirst for history. Why, hello there! I'm Bill Starsap of Starsap Tours. Let me tell you, this place is full of history and interesting facts. For instance, did you know that New Homestead was one of the first colonies established outside of Earth? It's been populated in some capacity for over 200 years. I knew you were a fellow history buff. Well, tell you what, you come along on one of my little tours, and I guarantee you'll learn something you didn't know before. So what do you say? I've got an opening. I could take you on a tour right now if you'd like. a tour of New Homestead, he says. Well, let me tell you, New Homestead is living history. These people are direct descendants of some of the first settlers to leave Earth. If you've ever wanted to know what that early colonial life was like, this is your chance to embark on a fun-filled exhibition unlike any other.
It's where we're all from.
Definitely check out the Brown Horse Tavern. Good food, great atmosphere. Avoid spending too much time outdoors. It's freezing out there. Any more than that, well, I'd be giving away the tour for free.
I guess so. Maybe I need to look up more about it.
Excellent! You won't regret it. My tours are one of a kind. Now, there's just the matter of price. The going rate for a genuine Starsap tour is only 100 credits. Well, 100 credits is very reasonable, I think. I know, I gotta work on my pitch a little. Maybe I could give you a discount just this once to prove my tour is worth it. True. Hey, tell you what, I might be able to lower the price for you. Just let me think about it. Tell you what, I like you. This one's on the house, but if you enjoyed the tour, I'd really appreciate if you'd tell all your friends about me when it's done. So let's get this show on the road, eh? All right, so this is New Homestead's main concourse. This underground area didn't exist when the original outpost, Titan Astrobase, was finished in 2130. Follow me. We'll come back here by the end of the tour and talk about the museum collection. But first, let's go see where people live. Now remember, these people aren't actors. They actually live here, so try to be respectful of that. While the original inhabitants of the Titan Astrobase lived in pods like you saw up above, they transitioned down here when this section of the base was finished in 2144. Space is extremely limited, so you'll notice some overflow here, but more residences also exist on lower levels, which are inaccessible to tours. I'll stop at each of our destinations if you want to look around, or if you have any questions for me. Have any questions so far? Sadly, it's difficult to get additional construction done inside these underground caverns. So for now, additional populations are housed in these stacks of old shipping crates. As you might expect, this is where some of the less wealthy can afford to live. It's not glamorous, but they are functional and cozy. The original Titan Astrobase had more habitation pods on the surface connected to some of the old structures you may have seen in the back. As the colony grew, the base was expanded underground, and those hab units were recycled into materials used down here. I'm not sure the exact count, but New Homestead is a fairly small colony. What you see is what you get for the most part, except for some other people who live in the private lower levels. Some, particularly security, and yours truly, even commute from other worlds. Alrighty, we'll be taking the residential elevator to the farms area on the surface level. This way, please. Let's leave these good people alone for now and go check out the farms. Follow me up the elevator.
It's a little weird that people come here to see what early colony life was like. To me, it's
Just how we live.
New Homestead's farms are the beating heart of the colony. Without them, the original outpost would have shriveled and died. These pods are sealed and climate-controlled, a perfect environment for growing the hydroponic vegetation needed for survival in the early days of the colony. Any questions about the farms? Oh, they are indeed. Colonists still cultivate plant-based food for their own consumption here in New Homestead. It's less vital to their survival these days, as they also import supplemental food from other colonies, including meats, dairy, and synthetics. However, most citizens here take pride in a New Homestead-grown, sustainable diet. These days, it's a mix of what you find elsewhere in the galaxy, but in the olden days, it was all brought over from Earth. It was a lot of hearty root vegetables like potatoes, carrots, beets, and such, supplemented with corn, peas, green beans, soy, etc., which didn't always grow as well. Good question. It's largely the same, because this was the colony that pioneered the techniques you see elsewhere. But you'll notice that the farms here are smaller and staffed by humans, not robots. Things here are a little more old-fashioned compared to some of the large factory farms you'll find elsewhere in the settled systems. Onward it is! We'll be stopping by the Brown Horse Tavern later in the tour, which uses many of these locally sourced ingredients in their cooking. But for now, it's just a short way to our next stop. Follow me! So, the old biolabs are just on the other side of this building, believe it or not. We'll step on through the hallway there. They're not in use anymore, but the colony has faithfully recreated them as a historical exhibit, true to the original purpose of the Titan Astrobase. Sadly, they're undergoing some light renovation. Otherwise, there'd be interactive activities for kids to learn about how they used to search for microbial life here.
I could really go for some of Anya's cooking over at the Brown Horse.
Pardon the dust, but I can still answer some questions about the old Titan Astrobase biolabs. Oh, I'm sorry. I completely forgot to mention that. That's what this place was originally called. When NASA divested its interest in the Astrobase and turned it over to the people back in 2185, they renamed it New Homestead and established it as a historical site. Funny you should ask! Sadly, none. See, NASA funded the Titan Astrobase project because conditions seemed ripe for primordial life to form in Titan's methane pools. They tested many different sites, performed deep core ice drilling, and more, yet nothing turned up. Well, NASA defunded the xenobiology program in 2132, but a scientist by the name of Catherine Neely proposed research into advanced colony building on inhospitable worlds. So, by 2135, work began on what would ultimately set us all up to create habitats anywhere humans dared to explore. These very labs housed the computer systems used in that research. That and general storage for the colony. Lots of storage. You got it. On to our next stop. Next, we'll be heading outside, so make sure to check those seals on your suit because it's a bit chilly out there. We're going out into the frozen wastes of Titan to see what powers this planet. Watch your step outside, by the way. The ice can be slippery if you're not careful. The goal is to keep people out of Dr. Lakota's infirmary.
The people here live a simple life. Try not to complicate it.
Oh, yes. Powering New Homestead. As you might imagine, generating energy was a real challenge back in the day because the technology was much more crude then. But crude or not, it was that technology that sustained the old Astro base. And it might surprise you to learn that the same technology is still working today. The interesting thing about this old colony is that it's mostly powered by clean, renewable energy. You'll see one of the methods used on the horizon up ahead. That's right, New Homestead's famous wind farms. This spot was chosen for the colony in part because of its constant winds. These turbines have been integral to the colony's function since its establishment as a cheap, mostly reliable source of electricity. So, let's talk about wind power, shall we? Mostly. I'm sure you've noticed the occasional brownouts. I guess these old machines have a habit of freezing up, what with all the ice out here. There's some methane on reserve for critical life support systems, but everything else here is otherwise powered by the units you see here. You're looking at a piece of history. Sure, wind power is used throughout the galaxy, but these people were able to make do with it for hundreds of years. It's impressive that was all they had back then, and still make it work to this day. You're right. Most surface wind on Titan isn't too terribly strong, but here, the altitude and other conditions are perfect for sustained wind power. Like many worlds with atmosphere, the higher you go, the windier it gets. You're the boss. Let's go. Moving right along, we're going to learn about Titan's great natural resources. Titan is rich with hydrocarbons like methane and ethane. Surely you saw huge pools of the stuff on your descent into New Homestead. I like to think they add to the natural beauty of this world. Though, of course, stay away from them because, like anything beautiful, they can be dangerous. Just like my last ex-wife's pet. She had this gorgeous, I don't know what you'd call it, creature. The guy that sold it to her couldn't tell her what it was or where it was from. I don't think it was even a legal sell, to be honest. The thing was very easy on the eyes. Feathers, all the colors of the rainbow. Nasty bite, though. Wound up in the hospital and almost lost my hand. Still not enough for her to get rid of the dang thing. Anyway, there's a reason she's my ex-wife. But enough about me. We were talking about methane and other resources, right? Hey, can you believe it? Back in the 20th century on Earth, they used to fight wars over natural resources like this and petroleum. They have this whole moon here basically made of hydrocarbons in their own backyard. They just couldn't get to it. Incredible how far we've come. New Homestead is home to one of the oldest and largest methane processing plants in the settled system. Every year, UC engineers go through a painstaking, month-long maintenance process. It's how this place has remained operational as long as it has. I'm not going to take you too close to the machinery, liability and all, but I can still answer questions. Questions? Fire away. Exports mostly, since this world is so methane rich and has the infrastructure for it, a lot of the UC's methane comes from Titan. Of course, new homesteaders use it themselves for everything from generating heat to turning it into breathable oxygen via modern science. Oh, no one's ever asked me
me that before. Something to do with methane-eating microbes, I believe? I honestly don't know. Sorry. Ah, it's not as if they shut down for a month. It's not shut down at all, actually. See, this place is built with redundant systems, so they can shut it down piece by piece and suffer only a reduction in throughput. During that time, the UC gets more of its resources from other places, allowing New Homestead to maintain what it needs. Okie dokie, artichokey. There will be time for more later anyway. So, this next stop is a bit of an interesting one. I only recently made it part of the tour. Fun fact, it's also the only natural landmark on the tour. What we're about to see is a glacial spire we affectionately call Ymir's Horn. This colus used to be named after a character in a popular fantasy novel, but it was changed a couple hundred years ago to avoid any potential litigation. Now, what's a colus, you might say? Colus derives from the Latin word for hill, and scientists only gave names to groups of hills on a planet's surface. So in reality, the term you hear more often is the plural, coles, with an E. You probably don't hear it very often where you're from, because it was usually a term reserved for unexplored planets, back when they didn't have the technology to describe what they were seeing firsthand. Because of that, the term is much more common in the Sol system, but you may still hear it occasionally in reference to uncharted worlds. This planet's full of them, though, and they like to preserve that history here. So here it is, Ymir's Horn. You're free to take a closer look if you like. According to ancient Norse mythology, Ymir was the first Jotun, a frost giant. In the legend, they were both male and female and gave birth to the progenitors of all giants from their armpits. Ymir even predated the Norse gods, who, as it turns out, killed Ymir to fashion the earth and all of humanity from the corpse. It's a fascinating story, and the horn here is a fitting tribute to it. How about that? You really know your stuff. Maybe you should be the one giving the tour. I kid. I'm not sure. I heard someone say that before. Something about the worn-down remains of an ancient volcano producing ice via steam? I don't know. It sounds like you understand this stuff better than I do. Just be careful. It can get slippery out that way. I'll wait here. So here it is, Ymir's Horn. You're free to take a closer look if you like. Excellent. On to the next stop then. So, we're gonna head back inside through the methane processing plant. Try not to touch anything on your way. We want to make sure to respect Dr. Lakota's wishes to be safer around here. Ah, that brings me to another point. You'll notice the people around here have last names related to where their families originated from on Earth, as a way to remember the past. The museum curator, Maurice Leon, has more information about that if you're interested. You can find him inside the main concourse. Loves talking about it. You'll find most of the locals here are very friendly to tourists like yourself. Tourism is a major draw to this colony these days, and I respect that. Most of them are happy to talk at length about what they do here. Their rugged lifestyle is a point of pride for a lot of these folks.
Used to the methane processing smell after a while.
This area we're walking through is the nerve center of the plant, where technicians keep an eye on the operation. Since methane production is such an important part of the colony's livelihood, it's important that the techs notice any issues and react to them quickly. Anyway, we're headed into the ice mines. It's a natural spring where water bubbles up from deep below, but due to the cold, it keeps freezing as it reaches the surface. What else can I tell you about the ice mines? Not all. Some water is created as a byproduct of methane processing, but that's usually saved in the emergency reserves. Good question. I believe it has something to do with not wanting to contaminate the water with methane and other chemicals. The ice helps prevent impurities in the water. At least this is what I've been told. I wouldn't recommend it. First, it's an active work site. Second, it still needs to be filtered and checked for contaminants. But don't worry, we'll stop somewhere for refreshments before the tour is over. Of course, watch your step. It can get slick around here. I'll stay behind.
Hi there. Always nice.
I find myself suddenly very grateful for our accommodations in the lodge.
Another tourist come to learn about the ice mines, huh? It's dangerous in the ice mines. I'd much rather answer your questions than have you going off to explore on your own. I'm surprised I still get this question. It's slippery, it's sharp, it can break, it can cave in. Those are just the obvious examples. Titan is also full of methane, which can sometimes be trapped under the ice. As you know, methane can explode under the right conditions. It can also asphyxiate you if you breathe in too much of it. Ah, so you can relate. It's good to talk with someone who understands the challenges of the job. Not everyone does. If I might ask, what do you mind? Ah, I see. I can respect that. We used to do more traditional mining like that here, but it made much more sense to do it off-world, since it takes a lot more effort for less gain. We mostly export methane and other natural gases instead. Anyway, I'm sure we could swap mining stories all day, but I really should be getting back to what I was doing soon. For drinking water, and we use some of it to produce this air you're breathing. We recycle a lot of what we use, but we still need a nice, steady supply of fresh water. Lucky for us, Titan provides. For one, New Homestead is not a wealthy colony. But we also pride ourselves on doing things the old ways. It's part of the living history, they say. We don't mind. We work hard here, and it's very rewarding. Bye.
What else can I tell you about the ice mines? Sounds good. Let's keep going then. We have just one more stop before we're done with the tour, and it just happens to be my favorite. This colony is home to the longest-running establishment still in existence, the Brown Horse Tavern. The Brown Horse started as a simple mess hall for the scientists and workers when the underground was built, but it's been operated by the same family ever since. Now, what's a horse, you might say? They were a large four-legged animal on Earth, often used for transportation or manual labor. Long before space travel was even a dream for the folks of Earth, even before antique machines like automobiles were possible, horses could be found everywhere. You might have seen them in old movies or read about them somewhere. If not, I highly recommend looking into them sometime. They're beautiful animals. The tavern's original owner was infatuated with them, from what I understand, and named the place in their honor. The moniker, Brown Horse Tavern, is also a throwback to names of similar Earth restaurants hundreds of years before it was established. That delicious smell is making me hungry. Can I answer anything about the Brown Horse? Easy. All the other ones fell to ruin when we abandoned Earth. There were technically older ones on Mars, but those have long since shuttered or been replaced. Ooh, that's a tough one. I honestly love everything Anya serves here. I'd be doing her a disservice to recommend one dish over another. You want the real answer? Order one of everything. Anya Seattle is the current owner of the Brown Horse. It's been in the Seattle family for generations. But Anya will be able to tell you more herself. Feel free to ask her. It doesn't feel right coming from me when she's standing right over there. Okay then. All right, we're headed to the last stop. Right back where we began. Feel free to check out the museum exhibit in the main concourse here. These displays are full of rare Earth trinkets salvaged from before humanity left, and Maurice is happy to talk about the collection. The museum's curator, Maurice, will be happy to talk to you if you want to know more. Well, that's that! I hope you enjoyed Starsap tours as much as I enjoyed giving them. Oh, wow, I really appreciate it. You know, I rely on tips from good people like you, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. Enjoy the rest of your stay in New Homestead.
Perhaps in the future we could skip the extra steps and just set your cred stick on fire directly?
Take care!
those wind turbines out there? Hoo-wee!
It's so cold here. I guess I should have expected. That.
You don't want to get hurt or sick around here. Dr. Lakota really doesn't care for tourists. Wish someone could convince her otherwise.